This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Hello! Paul Catalina and Garrett Ross here with you look, after yesterday, and we had such jocularity.
Yeah.
I feel like today needs to be a somber, look through college football. Just a deep, deep dive into the playoff rankings and how they affect us all emotionally and how we've been hurt by them, even though these don't count yet. I don't want stupid stuff. I don't want hilarity. I don't want to read message board geniuses and colloquial accents that I'm either really good or really bad at.
It was hit or miss.
It was. I'll tell you, there are some, I can kill it. I can absolutely kill it. There are impressions I can do, like Sean Connery, Bill Clinton. I'm pretty good at Obama. I can't do Trump. I can't really do George W. Bush. I'm just listing, mostly presidents. Right. I can do a pretty good McConaughey. I can do some other accents, but, I really need to work on my South Carolina, quite frankly. Although that and the Georgia and my what was the other one I had a hard time with was Pittsburgh.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Pennsylvania. I can maybe do more like
a Philly?
Like Philly as opposed to Pittsburgh, like hoagies and grinders and let's go to Wawa's and do that. Like that I can do because I used to actually, when I was a little kid, I used to live out there, so I do have an ear for it, even though I was really young, because I still do have friends. You have a friend, they were just here last week, the family, and they called me on the phone like, hey, we're going to the Cowboys game to see the Eagles. Are there any good restaurants around, or like by our hotel, is there something like a Wawa's?
A Wawa's?
A Wawa's, have you ever been to a Wawa?
Yes, in California, I believe. Yeah.
It's like Northern Buc-ee's. It's
yes.
smaller, but the food quality's
it's legit.
It's like Buc-ee's. It's great. So I need to work on that. Like I can do Philly, I can do Baltimore, Maryland. Come on, you. Like Joe Flacco was like the greatest quarterback ever, and now we have Lamar Jackson. We can't win a Super Bowl, yo. Like that I can do. I have trouble with Pittsburgh and West Virginia. It's a
little niche.
It's a little bit there.
Put some, the twang on it, like my country ass.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't quite get it. There might be I just need to listen to words and practice it. I can do California really well. I can do different areas in California. I can do different areas of Texas. West Texas is more Briles, where it's
slow drawl.
It's slow drawl where, come on out to Lubbock. We're going to have a good old time, and this is it's going to be great. We got a great tailgate. We're going to have breakfast tacos because 11 a.m. kickoff, and we'll have, just a light beverage of moonshine and whiskey that I made in my garage, But Dallas is more well, howdy. Come on to Dallas, Yeah. It's more like that. Austin has now lost its accent completely. Either it's McConaughey, all right, or it's yo,
tech nerd stuff.
Welcome to Austin, bro. I moved here from San Diego.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it is.
It's just like San Diego, but there's no beach, it's slightly cheaper.
Food's better.
Yeah. Houston has a little bit more of that Louisiana in it.
Yeah, buddy.
So, you're down in Houston, and people will say, you say Houston.
Houston.
Yeah. So, there's a lot. So I like to practice those things. One of my favorite impressionists is actually Fred Armisen.
Mm-hmm. He's legit, man.
He doesn't do a lot of celebrities. He did a few when he was on SNL. But his thing is, if you watch him, if he does a country, he can do every dialect of British people. Every kind of, if they're Cockney, if they're from Essex or Sussex, or if they're from London, if they're very erudite and proper, and you just need to watch. They did a sketch, he and Bill Hader, where they were the king and queen. He played the queen, where they would send somebody out of the room. They'd go from proper to being all right, we nicked it. That's how we got this castle, they were thug. So that's what I need. I know I need to work on some things. So I promise you, as an audience, I will work on them to get better. I can do Russian really well because I was in Fiddler on the Roof when I was in high school. And that's about Russian Jews during the pogroms. And I played the innkeeper, and I had this really long monologue in it at the wedding. And I wasn't singing or like they let me dance. But first, I'll tell you this. The first day, I'm in Fiddler on the Roof, and like I told them, like, listen, I'm not a good singer. I'm a better singer now because I think, they're all the way dropped.
Right.
But when I was 16, they were still like in the process, I guess. I don't know. So, but like I had no ear for like pitch
control
or anything like that. And my voice has always been kind of deep, So, I mean, it's not like I'm not, Foghorn Leghorn deep or, like Sam Elliott,
Yes.
But so I remember we're like singing, and it's like, tradition. And like that song, if you've ever seen Fiddler on the Roof. And so we're singing tradition, and the director of the play, who was the academic dean of our school, she's like, something's off. I'm like, it's me. She's like, no, don't sell yourself short. I'm like, listen,
it's definitely me.
It's definitely me. And like, I'm like telling like all these little theater geeks this is my first time out. Like all the theater geeks are like, no, it's Paul. And I'm like, look, you don't need to save my self-esteem on this.
Right.
I'm telling you, it's me. Like it would hurt. It hurts worse coming from like my coaches where they're like, this is a bad block. Like that kills me, and I know I can lift more weights and run more and maybe get better at it. I know this is not going to get solved.
No.
This is February 1st. This thing goes live on April 10th. There's no way that I'm going to get this good by then. So I made up for it by teaching all the cast to do Russian accents because I could do one. And here's why I could do one. I was such a news nerd. I still am. It's just harder to watch now because it's just so effed up. But I was such a news nerd that when I was like 8, 9, 10, and we're watching like Gorbachev and like the wall fall down, I'm just listening to him speak. And I was just like, the wall must fall down. We have to, make peace with America. It's good. Or I like that and Yakov Smirnoff, who I don't know if you remember as a comedian.
I don't really remember him.
So he used to be in Best Westerns, but his bit was like he was a Russian refugee. And he would be like, America, what a country.
Yeah.
It was great. You can go see him in Branson right now if you want to. But yeah, so that's how I learned to do that. And maybe we can throw some other characters in. I thought this morning, I said, I should have done one of those message board things as like because a lot of them sound to me in my brain like the Leave Britney Alone guy.
Yeah.
On YouTube, Emery, do you remember the Leave Britney Alone guy? Maybe that was before your time. So like, it was like right in the first wave of like people just assaulting Britney Spears on social media where everything she did was wrong and they're saying it. And this guy just super, super gay just comes on. He's like, leave Britney alone. And I think I'm going to do one of these things. Like the next time somebody like defends an embattled coach, that's what I'm going to do.
I like it.
That's the Leave Britney Alone guy. So I hope that everybody enjoyed that yesterday. And this has been like an 8-minute thing of me just kind of describing it. We like to go behind the scenes here.
Got to.
We got to do behind the scenes.
Peek.
Like, look, sometimes this will be the DVD extra.
Yeah.
If you watch on the DVD and it's like, look, we had a great time making this movie. And the best thing about working for Steven Spielberg is he gives you permission to fail. He wants to see all of it. He's very encouraging. And then when you don't go in the right direction, he lets you know why, like in a good way, why that was a bad choice. Yeah, that's what I want to do. I want it like people sitting on the set in costume. Especially I like to watch those things when it's like a British actor playing like a Southern guy.
Oh, God, yeah.
And he's like, look, super excited about playing this guy from Georgia. I spent a lot of time in Atlanta. I went to Macon. I had some really amazing Southern cooking. I'd never had grits before. And then you watch the movie and he's like, well, y'all, I think, like, especially like a Civil War movie, like, we need to kill them Yankees. And you're like, dang, this guy's good.
He's got it.
Yeah. Gary Oldman was that for me. I had no idea Gary Oldman was British I'd seen like 10 movies with him in it, and then I saw him on Letterman, and he's like, "Oh, Dave, it's so great to be here. I love it. Just really proud of the film." And I was like, "Whoa!"
I think mine was probably and I'm going to butcher his name. Elvis. What's his name? He plays Stringer Bell.
Oh,
Elvis.
Idris Elba.
Idris, yeah. Like
Idris Elba.
When I saw that, I was like, this cat's British? What the hell?
Yeah.
He crushed Stringer Bell.
Yeah. No, I didn't know. Like, I didn't know either. He was the one. He got me too. Like, I remember the first time I saw him doing something else, because like when he was on The Office, he wasn't British either.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah, he wasn't like, he was straight up and down, and then you see him and he's like, especially The Wire. He's like Mr. Baltimore, like killer dude. Yeah. And then he's like, "Oh, it's tragic, the story of the inner city of Baltimore. It's something I really wanted to get into the nitty gritty about." You're like, "Oh my God, really? Oh, gosh, killing me." So anyway, let's get into the college football playoff rankings from last night. 1 through 12, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Indiana, Notre Dame, Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, Georgia, Tennessee, Boise State, SMU, BYU are 13 and 14. I personally think SMU's had a better resume than Miami has.
They have.
I think you could flip those.
And BYU.
Miami, here's the thing. Miami has Cam Ward. That's got to be the difference, because it's the eyeball test of like.
It's not even that. It's the more intriguing product on TV. Cam Ward's going to bring the eyes. That's what it is.
Yeah. So, yeah, and that's the thing that I don't think they need. Like, you're going to get ratings. Everybody's always trying to. It was like this year, and I hate this when it comes to baseball, because I believe that a lot of people have bought into it, and it's not the case. Like, okay, this year was the Yankees versus the Dodgers.
Right.
Literally the two largest fan bases
Bloods,
in Major League Baseball. Like you can go down like, okay, Red Sox, Cubs are pretty big. There's a lot but outside like a Red Sox Cubs World Series at a certain time in our history would have been great.
Awesome,
especially had they both not, like we almost got one in 2003. And then Bartman and Grady Little happened like in the same week. But we always had Cubs and Red Sox, which neither of them had won the World Series in a very long time to that point. So that was the curse of the Billy Goat and the curse of the Bambino. But like Yankees and Dodgers, just massive fan bases. Massive fan bases. And they're in the market 1 and 2 and market 1 and market 2. So people are like, "Oh, well, the Major League Baseball is going to be thrilled." Yeah. But the ratings aren't. They're better, yes, so they can sell more advertising for the next year. But if it's San Francisco versus, say, Texas, those ratings are still pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, they're lower than they used to be because baseball is less popular because it's baseball's fault. But baseball is, yes, popular than it used to be, but the ratings are still good. Fox hasn't decided to not do the World Series.
Right. They're not giving it up.
They're not giving it up because, like, oh, man, we can't run the risk of a Kansas City-Milwaukee World Series. No. Like, yeah, you're going to, like, yes, if it's Milwaukee and Kansas City or Milwaukee and Cleveland or, Minnesota and Cincinnati, you're probably going to take a hit compared to L.A. and New York. All right.
But it's a one-off, too.
But it's a one, like, okay, there's another one next year. Look, DC's been in it. That's a huge market. Houston was in it. They played against each other. Huge market, Houston and LA. Like, again, you can't be that greedy. You have to understand that there are ebbs and flows of things. So when you're doing something to placate, like, we're trying to get the max viewers, you're not really looking at it from, oh, this is the best way to do it. So if you're trying to say, like, oh, well, Alabama will bring more eyeballs than BYU, so that's where we're going to rank them higher. I mean,
I don't know.
Like, okay, if you meet a Mormon family with just one kid, one of two things has happened. Either the mother has there's a fertility issue, like just science is in the way, or that's their first kid.
Yeah.
Like, those are the only Mormon families with one kid. we had one kid, now we have some medical problems, or
we're just getting cranked up.
We just started.
We're just getting cranked up.
We just started. This was number 1. There can't be 2 without 1. There can't be 3 without 2. So don't worry. We're taking a break, and then we're going to reboot the system and go again.
We used to have this family in Oglesby that was a Mormon family, and literally you knew when a new baby was coming because the dad would start running around town with his shirt off. And then you knew a few months later it was about to go down, and it never failed. There was always another kid when he would start running.
Good for him.
Good for him.
I'm glad he figured out the secret sauce, so to speak. That's a terrible, terrible metaphor for that. Yeah. But a terrible metaphor. But yeah, so you should pick the teams based on who the best teams are. The ratings are going to be there. Mm-hmm. And then if you're lucky enough to where the best and most deserving teams, like this whole, like, do we really think that BYU is better than Georgia? Well, I don't think that they are, but again, are you telling me you don't think that there's a scenario which BYU could beat them? There is.
Yeah, especially this Georgia team. There's not, that's the thing is like, there's not, and you mentioned it, there's not one juggernaut out here. Everybody's vulnerable. I know Oregon's undefeated, but there have been opportunities for even like Boise to get them. So I don't, just put everybody out there and let's settle it on the field. I don't understand. It's like they're intentionally blocking out or doing what they can with these to make sure the Big 12 only has one team in. Like they do. It's pretty obvious they don't want 2 Big 12 teams in there.
No,
it's pretty obvious they don't want 2 ACC teams.
Yeah.
So, but the placement of Miami still is just baffling.
Yeah.
To this.
No, like at 8, like we'll see. Like SMU to me, they have one loss, and it's to BYU, the team that is below them, by the way, like one place below them. Now, I think they're both getting screwed, but like if you had to have one that was like, if they both got shot by the same guy, right? Who's the one who needs surgery first?
Right,
Probably
right.
BYU, because again, they had that claim. So I don't know. Like it's very silly to me that we do this, but right now it doesn't matter, but it's just showing you like where they think of things. And, I know that a lot of the SEC world is like, how can Indiana be ranked above Alabama and Ole Miss and Georgia? Do we really think Indiana could beat them? I don't know.
They might.
I don't know. Like I've watched 25-point favorites lose games.
Yeah.
A lot in recent years. It's just about that day. It has nothing to do with anything else. Like every game is just about that week of preparation and that day of the game. The minute that we can start having that conversation as opposed to hypotheticals, yeah. Look, and there are more instances where there's blowouts than not, but everybody's blaming TCU for getting blown out by Georgia. But
I mean, I remember Notre Dame getting smoked. I remember Clemson getting smoked. Bama's even got the hell beat out of them.
Okay, so blowouts happen. Like sometimes it's just how it is. And the SEC has earned a lot of this praise. Don't get me wrong. But the minute we also have to admit this is a new era of college football. So their little run where the BCS and the CFP 4-team playoff were set up to where they were never going to be ignored, that's over. It's 12 teams, NIL, transfer portal, revenue sharing. This is so different. Yes, the SEC and the Big Ten will have more revenue to share, so they're more likely to get better players. But it's already shown that no matter what, there's still great players all over the place. If that was the case, why would Deion Sanders ever go to Colorado?
He wouldn't.
He would just wait for an SEC or a Big Ten job and would have taken that, or he would have taken the Purdue job when he could have at the same time, right?
Yep.
He was, I got to go to Purdue because that's in the Big Ten, so that's more money and, all this stuff. No, he went to Colorado because he felt he could win there and he felt he could get his recruiting base, which is mostly here in Texas, to Denver easier than he could other places.
Yep.
All right, so again, Deion's going to have 2, or I'll just say 3 real recruiting strongholds. One is Deion Sanders being a celebrity and him being able to go and get any 5-star he wants to at least talk to him.
Yep.
Whether they get there or not is...
He can get him in the door.
He can get him in the door. Like, he can get him in the door. He's going to be able to go to Florida and be like, hey, I might be the greatest football player who ever played in this state. Mm-hmm. It's up for debate. There's been a lot of great ones, but I'm certainly the most famous, and I'm certainly the only one who's coaching a Power 4 team right now. And then he can go to Texas, where he lived forever. It still has a house here, by the way.
He's got a farm in Canton.
Yeah. I mean, he's got a farm, like all that stuff. He's got all this stuff here. And go into Dallas, which is one of the 3 best cities in America to recruit. I think it's Dallas.
I think Dallas is second in the state. It's Houston,
Dallas, Miami, maybe?
Yeah.
Atlanta, right there. L.A. Those are your top cities to recruit straight out of. Like, if you told me you can only pick 5 cities to go to, and I'd be like, well, those are the 5. Yeah. I'm going to Dallas, Houston, Miami, and Atlanta, and L.A. Yep. Yeah, Dallas, Houston, Miami, Atlanta, L.A. That's where I'm going to go. I'm going to only recruit there. Sorry about your luck, Seattle, and, you know.
We'll grab a lineman or something. We're good.
Yeah, but, like, no. Like, if you said that, yeah. And, like, I can take, like, one trip every 3 years to another city. I might pick either Birmingham or New Orleans.
I was thinking that.
Yeah,
definitely get in Birmingham or Baton Rouge, New Orleans area.
Yeah, so
definitely.
Like, okay, every 3 years you can add a city just to go poach a guy, be that. So again, like, like this SEC stuff is, yes, there's some proof on the field, but it's a new era, and they set themselves up for the new era by marketing. Mm-hmm. But look, I sent you guys a tweet earlier today from
Fornelli.
No, from Danny Cannell.
Oh, yeah,
okay.
That one.
So, now look, none of these SEC teams, only one of them is a playoff team, and they lost to another playoff team.
Okay.
That was A&M, lost to Notre Dame 23-13.
Yep.
And that was a 10-point game, but really, like, it was like, it's a 10-point game. If you go back and watch it, it's going to feel like a 1-point game until the end. Like, It was very close until the end, and then Notre Dame, like, broke a big play.
Yeah.
2 great defenses playing against each other, and 2 offenses who hadn't figured themselves out yet. But Miami beat Florida by 24 points in the Swamp. Cal, who's the only team to lose to FSU, beat Auburn. Arizona State, who's damn good.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
Beat Mississippi State. Georgia State beat Vanderbilt.
Not Vanderbilt that beat Bama.
Yeah. USC, who is
thanks, Paul.
Very average, beat LSU.
Who is below average.
Yeah. Oklahoma State, who, and I'm sorry, Barry Crawford, sucks out loud.
They're terrible.
Yes. Sucks out loud, beat Arkansas. Okay? And so all that happened. The best wins I can see non-conference-wise for the SEC right now are Michigan, who's not good.
Yeah.
And Clemson for Georgia.
Who's average.
Who's okay. They're okay. They're an ACC contender, but I do think, like, you know, most teams that would be in the playoff could stand toe-to-toe with Clemson and do very well.
I think there wasn't any other big wins for them.
No, I mean, like, and part of it is, look, Ole Miss did not have a good non-conference schedule. Tennessee didn't have a good non-conference schedule. You know, and like, that happens. That's fine. Like, again, but let's stop. We're at this intersection where they're trying to justify all these 2-loss SEC teams, and that's fine. But when you have 16 teams in the league, you're going to run into some inexplicable, like, how do you weight these losses versus these wins when not everyone's going to play each other?
Also think this is setting up. All this is doing is setting up for, I don't think we're going to have a 12-team playoff, but for like 1 or 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's going
to go to 16. The SEC and Big Ten are getting 4 teams in, and it's going to be the same. You're going to look at the Big 12, maybe gets 2. ACC maybe gets 2. They're setting it up.
Then it becomes an invitational.
Yeah.
Then it becomes an invitational. So we're going to take a break right here. When we come back, we'll dive more into this, including something that Ward Manuel said that sounds like it's right out of Greg Sankey's mouth. This is the Triple Option on 365 Sports.
Fantasy Sports EVO, the next evolution of daily fantasy sports. Tired of traditional fantasy sports where you spend hours upon hours studying individual players? EVO's unique team-based platform makes it easier than ever for all sports fans to play. No need to know individual players. Just choose your contest, select your teams, and enjoy the game. Whether you access our website from a desktop, mobile device, or the app, the experience is the same. EVO is for all sports fans. Join Fantasy Sports EVO and experience the evolution. Fantasy Sports EVO, the next evolution of daily fantasy sports. Tired of traditional fantasy sports where you spend hours upon hours studying individual players? EVO's unique team-based platform makes it easier than ever for all sports fans to play. No need to know individual players. Just choose your contest, select your teams, and enjoy the game. Whether you access our website from a desktop, mobile device, or the app, the experience is the same. EVO is for all sports fans. Join Fantasy Sports EVO and experience the evolution.
This is 365 Sports, powered by Sikkim365.com. Welcome to the Triple Option. Here's your host, Paul Catalina.
Thank you for your patience through what was a longer break.
Whew. Feel better?
Yeah, I feel way better. That's all we're going to leave it at. But I felt someone would notice, and Bracket Cat did.
Oh.
Yeah.
There you go, Bracket.
Yeah, so, look, sometimes you need a break.
You made a run for it.
Yeah. 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 Doctor says increase the fiber in your diet, you do it. You know,
I was kind of worried it was that boar's head stuff.
No, that's going in the trash for sure. That's going in the trash for sure. We talk about these things on the Triple Option.
Got to.
We listen.
Got to inform the people.
Here's the deal: Paul Catalina's 2028 presidential run promises to be completely transparent.
I appreciate that.
Every time I meet with a lobbyist or another politician, it will be live stream on this channel. So,
it's a start.
If you want to know why we don't have more border patrol or why we don't have something and somebody voted against a law that everybody wants, like an internet privacy law, we had one almost closed and didn't happen because, there's some, people who greased the palms of some politicians. We're going to say, like, hey, I know that you took money from this lobbyist, so that's why we're going to do it. And they'll be like, well, that's not about that. And be like, oh, it's totally about that.
It's totally about that.
But you could see it on live stream. The only things that will be behind bars or stuff behind closed doors are top secret things. Like, we're going to be so top secret when it comes to that stuff. Everything else, like,
you almost want to leave them laying around somewhere?
There's no reason that I shouldn't be able to see somebody talking about, why we need more corn and why you'd vote against it. No, like water preservation, things like that. No. We're going to have an open conversation. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So Paul Catalina 2028 is wide open. Much like the Lyndon Johnson presidency when he would talk to people. Do you know my favorite story about LBJ? I have a ton of random presidential history, but
you do.
Part of the reason he got the Civil Rights Act passed was because, President's Day is so busy, he would bring in the politicians who are against it, and then he would go to the bathroom and drop one and negotiate with them while he was on the toilet. So a lot of them were like, whoa, okay, whatever you want. Just let me out of this room. You're a 66-year-old man. I cannot be in here. Whatever. Fine. Civil rights. Yes, I'm all for it now. God. And so then when people were like, why'd you vote for it? Like, would you sit in the bathroom? Like, that was a dirty trick. I will do those same things.
I respect that so much.
Exactly. So, I'm trying to see. Warren Manuel last night said this: teams advancing to their conference championship game means a lot of value and is a valuable data point. Okay. What about winning or losing it?
They're already setting that up.
So, that's because that was Sankey's thing of like, hey, gold star for making it, but it shouldn't matter if they lose. I think if there's a 3-loss team in this thing, we revolt.
Hold on, though, on that. If that would have been the case, or what was being posed, the year TCU made the playoff, then would have that? No, because it would have been still 4 teams. I was saying how, because K-State beat them. So that would that, I don't know. Never mind. I'm just getting confused on all that. Yeah. I just think at some point we're going to get rid of the conference championship games. I think they're going to have to go away. And I think you're going to have some sort of little playoff where you can actually determine who the real champion is with the unbalanced schedules. I think that's the only way you can do that going forward. But setting this up is just it's letting everybody know that if an SEC team loses their championship game, they're still getting in. But is that the thing? Is it's going to carry over for everybody? Is it going to apply across the board, or are they going to come up with another narrative that spins it where the ACC and the Big 12 or the Group of 5 don't have that same kind of bumper there?
Yeah, I like that's the thing is everything needs to be like, it's not fair because yes, the conferences are not equal.
No,
but I know they want to have the 12 best teams, and having that highest rated Group of 5 champ in there makes it the best. That's what helps with that. But
and how long is that going to last?
Yeah, I know. It needs to. Yeah, because after this 2 years,
they're getting rid of them.
Yeah, they're especially
let Boise go to Ohio State and whoop their ass. They're getting rid of Boise.
Yeah,
they're getting rid of the Group of 5. Quick.
Well, you know what? If that does happen and then they try to do it, that's when it probably wouldn't work, because it would be look, if Boise goes to Ohio State, Boise right now has a first-round bye, they wouldn't even host. They'd be at a bowl game. They'd be at a New Year's Six bowl game, whatever it was. They're the 4th seed right now as it stands, which is awesome. I'm all for that. I think they've certainly earned that, especially when you compare them to, Ohio State. They have the same same thing. Ohio State lost by 1 less point.
Yeah.
So, or 2 less point. It was a 1-score game, and it was a field goal game in either one of them. So, if they would if somebody goes and plays Boise State, and if they do keep to that first round bye, if somebody goes and plays them in the Fiesta Bowl or whatever, and loses, then it's going to be a lot harder for Greg Sankey or Tony Petit to be like, well, these teams don't deserve to be in it. And be like, oh, that's real funny, considering that, their first rattle out of the box, they beat your ass.
Yep.
So, but the next round we beat them. Yeah, but the first round you didn't. And especially if Boise doesn't get the bye and wins 2 games.
Yeah.
Hey now. So, yeah, I mean, that will, of course, I guess winning 2 games would put them in the championship, right? So
I don't know. I think they have to win more than that to get
3 games. Yeah, but so win a game.
Yeah, they have to win 3.
Yeah, but if you win 2 games and you're in the semifinals, all right, let's go. And Yeah, this year if they won 2 games, they'd be in the finals.
Yeah,
if it stays this
bye,
way,
yeah.
right? Because they have the bye currently. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't buy in. Like everything you hear is just a narrative for everybody's conference, and the ones who actually have the legitimate narratives are the ones who are going to get left out. You know, because Penn State's going to get in.
Yes.
They're going to get in, and they're not going to be in the championship game. And, you know, Indiana's going to get in, or Ohio State's going to get in, and one of them won't be in the championship game. Okay, well, Ohio State, like, I mean, let's just look at Ohio State's schedule this year. All right, so they played Oregon.
Yep.
And they played Penn State.
That's
and they play Indiana. So that is a justifiable schedule to get in if their losses are a 1-point loss to the number 1 team in the country
on the road,
and then a close loss to the number 5 team in the country. Okay, compare that to the SEC teams that are 10-2. That's a fine resume. Penn State's schedule at 1 loss. I mean, there's no one.
No,
there's no one on that schedule that justifies them, you know, being in this thing.
So have they only played 1 ranked team? Was it, I guess, Ohio State?
Well, no. Illinois was ranked when they played them.
Okay,
but
then there goes that.
And
like
then ranked right now, or going to be ranked at the end of the year, Ohio State's the only team that's going to be ranked at the end of the year.
Yeah, and Illinois is like a shell of themselves from early on, too.
So Minnesota was ranked. That's who they play this week, but they're not ranked anymore. And then Minnesota's not ranked anymore, right?
They are not. No,
Yeah,
I'm looking at it right now.
They're not ranked anymore. And then they play Maryland. So, all right. Okay, we'll compare that to anybody else on this list schedule. It's all about the same. And so the argument about this really comes down to the middle to the bottom of every conference, which I don't think is that different. Now, the top of the SEC is better than the top of every other conference.
Without a doubt.
The top of the Big Ten is better than the top of the ACC.
Correct.
And the Big 12 is so close, I don't even know how to judge it. I think most of the teams in the Big 12 would fare well against most of the teams in the ACC. I think so. I think they're better.
Yeah.
I think the defenses are a little bit better in the Big 12 than they are in the ACC this current year. But again, the middle of the conferences, which is where you're judging the wins and losses, right? Of who's lost in the middle and the bottom, right? The middle of those 2 conferences are no different than the middle of the SEC and the Big Ten.
No.
That's my point. Like, this is, you know, Ari Wasserman and I had a long Twitter debate.
Oh, I remember that.
And
that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, 2 years ago after TCU. And my point was, look, this is not about the Big 12 versus the SEC. This is about Georgia. This is about this team that's a juggernaut that is a top 10 team of all time. Right? Like they would, like, in the – if we made a 12-team playoff of all the all-time great teams of the 95 Nebraska and 2000 Miami and
2019 LSU
and 2013 FSU, like those teams that had all these like just chunks of NFL, 2005 Texas, 2004 USC, like if you put those in there, Jimmy Johnson's Miami team, like if you put all those teams in there that were the greatest of all time. You know, those top 12, like that Georgia team would hang with almost every one of them. They were unbelievable. I mean, pick a couple of Nick Saban's Alabama teams in the 12 too, right? So like pick those. But to say that it's about that league, you know, I know.
It's not. It's all been skewed because of 1 or 2 teams going on runs. It's changed the narrative completely. I just like, to me, the Big 12's problem is when you talk about that and you talk about the SEC being top heavy, you talk about the top of the Big 10. The Big 12's problem and why they find themselves in this is because they don't have any top teams. They're a conference made of mid-tier teams. So they don't get the same respect because I think the only way the Big 12 is going to get some sort of respect or anything going forward is you need Deion to make Colorado a juggernaut because Deion's going to get the stars. He's got the eyeballs. You need Avery Johnson to emerge as a superstar if you're K-State and to build around him. You need that. Like outside of that, you're not going to get anybody. You're not going to get anybody to want to watch you. It's unfortunate. That's just the way it is. It just sucks, man. But I think that's the difference. The Big 12's got to find a way to market itself or have Colorado become like a juggernaut somehow.
Well, look, Brett Yormark has always said it's about the next TV contract, because I think he can see this too, that things are going to change. Mm-hmm. Things are going to be really different in the future because of all the changes. And so if we can just judge it through the prism of the now as opposed to the past, then that's going to be better for the Big 12 and for the ACC and for literally everybody else. Yeah. Except the SEC and the Big 10. What the SEC and the Big 10 are very clearly trying to do is head that off of the pass, because everything is cyclical.
Yeah. And they're also trying to do the scheduling thing. So when all of their teams come out in the AP poll to start the season and they're all ranked in the top 25 and then they play each other, then that's their strength of schedule going forward. And that leaves the Big 12 and the ACC with no quote-unquote high-ranked matchups to reflect on in the preseason.
If the Big 10 and SEC do a scheduling partnership, there's no way that outside of the traditional super rivalries, Georgia and Georgia Tech or something like that where they play cross-conference, that they can get rid of, but you're going to suffer the same fate as A&M and Texas did for 13 years. Until you fix that problem, then your fans will be mad about it. Yeah. No matter what any A&M or Texas fans say, and
they want to play.
The proof is in the pudding with how many tickets have been bought for this game and how much they're going to be and how fast it sold out. It's like the Eras tour.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, they could play the game every day for a week, and they would sell it out every day for a week.
Yes.
There'd be people with bracelets and, gosh, I hope they run that play that they ran on Wednesday again. Oh, when she did Bad Blood on Sunday, it was the best. That's what it would be. And so they can pretend. So if you take away Florida and Florida State, all right, you don't want to do that.
No.
You need the rivalries. The rivalries are what's going to feed the television. And I do see some of them coming back in the non-conference after a couple years when they're like, hey, Texas, we appreciate that you play Ohio State and Notre Dame and whoever, but we really need you to go play one of the team in Texas. A&M, please, go play Tech again. It's going to happen because they know.
So?
I think they're going to. I think they'll ask for more of those things.
I don't know if that's going to work.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe not, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. So, but some of the rivalries that have gone away, that are big rivalries. The one I see that would have to come back is Bedlam.
Yeah, because
Bedlam's going to have to come back.
State. Yeah,
because what they're going to find is Oklahoma's going to be just like A&M in the SEC in that they left their rival behind.
Yeah.
Now, and the thing is they've already left one rival behind in Nebraska. So they either make a scheduling partnership with the Big Ten, which is, they're going to make a scheduling.
That would make sense.
But Oklahoma and Nebraska has to happen.
Yeah,
if you're going to make that scheduling partnership, that needs to be a permanent rivalry.
I think they're probably looking at that. That's exactly what they're going to do.
You need to replace, Oklahoma has one legit rival on their schedule, and that's Texas. A&M, they have
two or three.
They have two or three. Texas, LSU, Arkansas. Those are three legit rivals. And then they get they've got a subsection of another one with Oklahoma, who they only beat a couple times.
Yeah.
But that was an old Big 12 one, so there's some history there. But again, that's not going to happen that much. But Texas, Arkansas, and LSU will happen pretty much all the time.
Probably.
Especially when they figure out the new scheduling and who the protected rivals are and all that. And even if they add more teams down the line. So yeah, I absolutely think that those things are going to happen. I think you have to get some of those back because Oklahoma, outside of going to Bedlam, okay, they played Missouri for a long time,
but they don't have no history.
Not I never once heard a Missouri or Oklahoma fan in the 13 years that they were apart go, man, I missed that game.
Yeah. It just doesn't happen.
No.
Even the Arkansas thing, Oklahoma, you would think that they would have some sort of history or be rivals, but
they couldn't give a crap less about each other.
Care.
Yeah, and then maybe that grows in the future, but we'll all probably be long dead before it's like it has the weight of a bedlam. Or in Oklahoma, Nebraska, which the Big 12 killed when they had it.
Yeah, imagine that.
Like that was just I still to this day will be baffled by we're gonna play for 2 years and we're gonna take 2 years off of one of our best games.
Stupid. That's why they're where they're at. They've made stupid business decisions.
Yeah, that was just like, yes. I mean, nobody, and here's the thing, no other rivalry had to go through that.
No.
No of the other Big 8 rivalries had to suffer that fate. But Oklahoma, Nebraska had to take one for the team. Why?
Because Texas.
Because, well, yeah. But because we had to set up this system that was, it's the same, like, we're all going to play the same thing.
And look where we're at now.
And look what the SEC, who was not like, when the Big 12 happened, the SEC was no great shakes. I mean, it was just another conference.
It was just there.
But you know what they did when they expanded? They're like, we're going to make sure that LSU and Florida are going to play every year because they hate each other's guts. And we're going to make sure that Alabama and Tennessee are going to play every year because they hate each other's guts. Like, we're going to make sure that
Common
happens.
Sense.
Because we're not going to be like, well, you got to play South Carolina this year, Alabama, because you haven't played them. And all, like, no, now they have a better system, but like protect rivalries. They knew that beforehand.
Yep.
You know what? Like, when Miami came into the ACC, I promise you said, well, we're going to play Florida State and Miami every year because that's one of the only things that we've got to say, like, this is the big interconference rivalry, because there was just such a hodgepodge of teams from the Big East and the ACC coming in. And Florida State, to that point, didn't really have a conference rival because Bobby Bowden had dominated it for so long that, I mean, like, Clemson became a rival, especially when they hired with Tommy. But at first, FSU, like, who was their rival from 91 until 2004?
They didn't have one. They were still kind of like that independent style. I know they were in a conference, but you know what I mean? Like, they played.
Were they rivals with North Carolina or like, again, until like the last, like the first 13, 14 years, they lost like 4 ACC games. So where's the rivalry? They were just an independent team and came and beat up on this conference that they were at that time too good for.
Yeah.
But that was their plan. They knew that. That's why they didn't go in the SEC. Like Bobby said it. He said, look, it's going to be easier. We're going to get in the national championship game. And guess what?
He was right.
One of the greatest coaches of all time because of it. Like, he had that foresight. So, yeah, that's I'm on, like, that was like a side rant about Nebraska and Oklahoma. But, again, you got to give them something. And you're going to have to enhance the schedules. And they're going to try, like, if you do that, then – Bedlam, if you do that, Bedlam's never coming back.
I don't think it is.
Because they'll do that. And I know Oklahoma State's publicly not motivated to do it. And they're like, they left, but
they're going to need it.
Bedlam needs to happen.
They're going to need it.
College football needs a Bedlam. You can't have 2 major schools in the same state that don't play each other regularly.
State, yes.
Yeah, in a small state like that.
That'd be like taking away the Iron Bowl.
Yeah. I don't like that Florida and Miami do this like 8-year rotation or whatever, your 4-year rotation.
No, they need to play every year.
I think they should play every year. Yeah. I think that UCF and USF should get to play, like, just rotate home and homes with the big 3. Mm-hmm. I do. I think it's good for the state. I think it's good for,
and it can help you with recruiting and keeping your players at home.
Yeah. I think especially, I know that they're going to try to run away from UCF. Because now UCF has power conference money, and they're in a really cool place, and they've got all these advantages, gigantic alumni and all that. The other schools are not going to want to schedule them.
No,
but you know what I would want to do if I was the AD at FSU, which I totally should be
at this point. Yeah.
I would be like, no, we're playing UCF. We're playing USF. I don't care that Jim Leavitt embarrassed us one year, and I don't care that, like, Gus or whoever the coach is going to be at UCF has all these advantages. If they beat us, so be it. If not, I'm not scared of them. We're going to play a game in our state in a major city in Orlando, and we're going to go kick their ass in their place.
Yep.
That needs to be our attitude. And you know what? If somebody calls us up and says, hey, do you want to come play at Washington? I'd be like, yes, we will come to Seattle and kick your ass in your place.
Yep.
Do you know who does that really
Texas.
well? Texas does it really well.
Does
Notre Dame has to do it.
Yeah, they have to.
But Texas does it.
BYU used to.
Yeah,
Before the conference.
And look, here's the deal. BYU still would.
They will, yeah.
There's not like somebody calls up BYU right now and says, come play a home and home.
Let's do
Tom
it.
Holmoe will be like, all right,
yeah,
let's do it. There are a lot of ADs that are like, oh, well, we've got 2041 available. How's that?
Yeah.
No, I like ADs that are like, okay, who can you kick off your schedule next year? Can you kick somebody off this year? Like, can you hey, kick Charleston Southern off your schedule. We'll be there on November 23rd. Yep. How about that? We'll kick ours off. You kick yours off, and then we'll go play this game. I don't care. Let's do it.
Yep.
That's what I want to see. My apologies to the Charleston Southerns of the world, but
they understand. They know their place.
Yes. Paul Catalina, future president of the United States and Florida State athletic director simultaneously. Or maybe I'd be like the shadow athletic director, because if I was the president, I feel like I'd have enough cachet to just call up whoever was the AD and be like, hey, I would like you to do this. Mm-hmm. And then he'd be like, well, why? I mean, like,
I said,
look, I'm only going to abuse my power in this regard, is that I'm going to tell you, you do these things to make me happy because I'm the president.
Mm-hmm. I respect that. I mean, yes, that's how it should operate.
That's it. Yeah. That and finding some way to seize the Cowboys from the Jones family.
Good luck. I meant to ask you this yesterday. Did you see what the Texans tweeted out?
No.
Okay, so they had like a metal L falling from the stadium. It was beautiful. I should have sent that to you. I was hoping Royden would be here so he could talk about it, but yeah.
We can talk about it next week on Tuesday. Golly. If again, I would leave this job tomorrow, a job that I love. Mm-hmm. If I could go to each team that I love and spend 3 years helping them get it right, in my opinion.
Just like a consultant?
I need real power.
Okay.
I may not be the GM, but the GM has to do the things that I say.
Okay.
So, for example, I would love to sit in the – here's the thing I'll do with the Cowboys, and I promise you they'll be better. I want to sit in the war room on draft day, and every time they draft somebody – that has a torn ACL and is not going to be able to practice day one of rookie minicamp, I'll be like, no. But they could be good down the line. You haven't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. No. You draft a healthy player. And if he winds up being an all-pro somewhere else, then I'm sorry. But you guys need healthy players who can help you as soon as they can.
Yep.
You can't stash them anymore. No more of this Bruce Carter, Jalen Smith. I can name like 5 other guys. Bullshit. None of that. And, when the Red Sox, I go to the Red Sox, and I'd just be the Red Sox from November until the end of spring training. And then I'd pop back in around the trade deadline. And we're like, should we trade Mookie Betts? I'd be like, only for as much as you can get. And they're like, yeah, but we really don't want to sign him to that long contract. Don't care. Either sign him to the long contract, or whatever team you get him from, you fleece them. You get as much as you can. It's the Herschel Walker trade. You do not trade the best right fielder in Major League Baseball, an MVP candidate every year, for Jeter Downs and Alex Verdugo. You don't do that. Bad Red Sox. Bad. And then I go to Florida State, and we win national championships in every sport. That one is probably
starting
a little
with
more
baseball.
But here's the thing. We're starting with football. Let's not be crazy.
Okay, just making sure, because I know how much you've longed for a baseball championship.
Yeah. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to get the football program juggernaut, right? And again, this is in my fantasy. Football program juggernaut.
Okay.
Everybody fears us. Then I'm going to turn my attention to the baseball team and get us at least one College World Series.
Okay.
Doing whatever we can do to do that. Then, my side project will be the basketball teams.
Starting with the head coach gone?
Because the women's basketball team I'm cool with. I think they'll be good in the long run. And it might be just because I knew the coach when we were in college together. So maybe I'm a little bit biased because I like Brooke Wyckoff. But But yes, we retire Leonard Hamilton. We give him a nice little fundraising job.
Yeah, he's your NIL guy.
We let him go out and get some NIL and get some help us, make the Donald L. Tucker Civic Center better. And so it's not maybe a Civic Center, maybe it's like or we tear it down and we build like a basketball and events arena that's better.
Yeah.
Although they've done a fairly good job with it. But we fixed that, okay? That's my little side project. As soon as we get the College World Series, then we're going to be Duke good at basketball. That's what it is. Because here's the deal. Track, national championship. Soccer, probably going to win again this year. Softball's legit. Like, those things I really don't have to worry about. I'll just keep giving them what they ask for and what they need, and we'll go. The other ones,
they need help.
They need help.
They need help.
They need my, no, we're not doing that. That's a bad idea.
Just like slap him with a fly swatter.
Yes. No, like I might like get a squirt bottle, and every time Jerry goes like, I like this guy. He's got moxie.
He's just soaked up.
No. He's got a torn Achilles tendon, Jerry. We're not drafting him. You need guys who do not have torn Achilles tendons.
Yep.
Who do not need some sort of miraculous surgery to become this feel-good story. We're done with feel-good stories. We're about winning championships. So we're going to draft players who can run, players who can tackle, and players who can think, and players who are healthy, and that's who's going to help the Cowboys win. And if you already have 2 tight ends, you're not drafting a tight end in the second round.
You don't need another one.
You don't need another one. If you want another one, you can have one later. But in the second round, you're going to draft somebody who's going to start for you this year by the middle of the year.
Yep.
Your first round pick should be no more Mozzie Smiths. Your first round pick starts on day 1. That's what we do, whether it's the first pick or the 32nd pick.
Have they had a good pick, like a solid pick since Parsons? Diggs, maybe.
Trayvon, I think it's the same draft.
Yeah.
Or no, round before.
But I mean, like a stud. Like Parsons is a dude.
No, they haven't. So, but that's what I would do. I'm like, look, we'll have other people who are smarter than me. Because again, here's what you want. In any kind of leadership role, you would like to be one of the smartest guys in the room, but not the smartest guy in the room, because then the smartest guy in the room is like, oh, man, he's pretty smart. He hired this smarter guy. Mm-hmm. No, I want a lot of people in the room.
Make you better.
Smarter guys. I mean, I've had bosses in the past that had to be the smartest guy in the room. Nobody here right now. No. But I had one in particular in the past. He had to be the smartest guy in the room. And if he was ever the smartest guy in the room, that's a room that's about to catch on fire.
It's a bad room.
Honestly, it's a room that's about to catch on fire. Like it's not a room of people who've read
many books.
Anything past the little engine that could. And even then, they're probably like got to page 3 and just lost interest. I don't know if he could or he couldn't.
I'll never know.
I'll never know. I'll never know. Did the guy ever eat the green eggs and ham? Lost interest. Who gives a crap about but bar? Boring. So, yeah, that's the kind of room you'd be in. That's what I would do as emperor of all my teams.
Okay.
The Spurs really don't need much of my help. I mean, like, they'll figure it out. But bottom line is, if I can get in the room with the Red Sox, the Cowboys, and Florida State,
you can change some things.
Oh, yeah. No hockey team really wants my help.
No.
I can tell good players from like mediocre ones when I'm watching, because we watch the Predators a lot.
Mediocre goalie.
Yeah, they're like, look, they had a really good team like 3 years ago when Amanda and I first started dating. Before we got engaged, the year before you got engaged, they were really good. 21, they were pretty good.
Yeah, they were pretty good.
And then like they lost some guys, and then
they still got Forsberg, and they brought over Stamkos this year.
Yeah, so that looks like they're maybe getting a little bit better. But last year she's like, I don't know what happened. I'm like, well, you know, they were playing the Lightning. We're watching a game, and I was like, well, you see the Lightning have all these guys that skate faster than them. And she's like, well, you're a hockey expert? I'm, no, I'm just I can just see this guy skating, and then the other guy like trying to catch up.
They got like one good line. That's about it.
I can see the other guy trying to catch up, and it feels like he's like, if I could just drop this stick, I could catch up with him. Like it's really heavy. I don't know how he's carrying the stick, and I'm back here. So we are loaded on the show today. Loaded. Tons of guests. I think because we have actually the full cast on Friday, we're not going to be able to do a pod today, but we'll do one on Friday. Taylor McCarg at 3:40. AAC Commissioner Tim Pernetti at 4. At 4:25, Arizona State cornerbacks coach Brian Carrington. At 4:45, Houston quarterbacks coach and passing coordinator Sean Bell. At 5, Zach Gelb. And at 5:25, Scott Drew. My top 5. So loaded today. It's going to be great. We'll see you in an hour. This is the Triple Option.